I found my husband's secret calendar on his laptop, and it showed he'd scheduled a vasectomy reversal for the same week our daughter's preschool play was happening. My husband and I have known each other for 11 years and been married for 8 of them. We have 2 beautiful children, a 6-year-old daughter named Maya and a 4-year-old son named Caleb. Our life looks perfect from the outside. We live in a nice neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. In a craftsman-style house we spent 2 years renovating together. We have a golden retriever named Maple who sheds on every piece of black clothing I own. We host Thanksgiving every year, and my mother-in-law actually compliments my turkey now instead of just pushing around her plate like she used to in the early years. But perfect is just a word people use when they don't know where to look. David works as a lead architect at a firm downtown, and for the last 4 years, he's also been running a furniture-making business out of our garage. It started as a hobby. He built a beautiful crib for Maya when I was pregnant with her, and then friends wanted custom pieces, and then friends of friends, and then suddenly he had a website and an Instagram account with 40,000 followers and a wait list that stretched into months. At first, I was so proud of him. I'd watch him come home from his architect job, eat dinner with us, and then disappear into the garage until midnight, emerging with sawdust in his hair and these incredible pieces of art disguised as furniture. He made a dining table for us from reclaimed barn with that I'll fight anyone who tries to take it. He built Maya a dollhouse that looks like a miniature version of our actual house, complete with working tiny windows. He built Caleb a race car bed that my son acts like is an actual Ferrari. The business became more than a hobby. It became his identity. For the first couple of years, I didn't mind. He was present. He made time. He'd work in the garage after the kids went to bed, but weekends were ours. Sunday mornings were sacred. Pancakes with faces made from blueberries, long walks at Forest Park, afternoon naps where we'd all pile onto our bed like puppies. Then the commissions started piling up. Then the deadlines. Then the clients who wanted rush jobs and were willing to pay triple. Then the local magazine profile. Then the feature in a national design publication. Then the offer to teach weekend workshops at a woodworking school in Seattle. The red line was always Sunday. We established that years ago. Sunday was family day. Sunday was non-negotiable. Sunday was the day he didn't touch a chisel, didn't answer client emails, didn't schedule consultations. Sunday was ours. Last year, he started crossing it. At first, it was just one Sunday. Just this once, he said. A client flew in from New York specifically to see my work. I understood. I'm not unreasonable. One Sunday. Then it was 2. Then it was most Sundays. Then it was every Sunday, with him promising that once he finished this one big commission, once he got through this busy season, once he trained his new assistant, things would go back to normal. They didn't. I'd find myself on Sunday afternoons, sitting on the back porch with a cup of coffee that had gone cold, watching Maya teach Caleb how to draw butterflies with sidewalk chalk, and I'd realize we were waiting for David to finish, just one more thing, waiting for him to come out and play, waiting for the family we used to be. The kids stopped asking where Daddy was. They just knew. I tried talking to him. I tried gentle conversations over wine after the kids were in bed. I tried firmer conversations on Saturday nights, reminding him about our Sunday agreement. I tried crying. I tried yelling. I tried the silent treatment, which lasted exactly 4 hours before I gave up because I'm not actually capable of the silent treatment. Nothing changed. He'd apologize. He'd promise to do better. He'd be present for exactly one Sunday. And then the next weekend, he'd be back in the garage by 7 a.m., and I'd hear the table saw start up, and I'd just lie in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling my marriage turn into sawdust. The breaking point came in March. I had been planning Maya's preschool play for weeks. She was going to be a sunflower, not just any sunflower, the lead sunflower, which in preschool terms meant she had 2 whole lines to say instead of 1, and she'd been practicing them for a month. Sunflowers turned toward the sun. We helped the garden grow. She'd shout it at the dinner table, at bath time, at 6 a.m. when she climbed into our bed, and yelled it directly into my face. The play was scheduled for a Thursday afternoon at 3:30. David knew about it. I put on the family calendar in the kitchen, the one where I write everything in color-coded marker, blue for work, green for kids, red for family events. Maya's play was in red, with 3 exclamation points, and she'd drawn a sunflower next to it with a crayon. 3 days before the play, David came home from work and announced he had a client consultation scheduled for that exact time. "Cancel it," I said. I was stirring pasta on the stove. Caleb was at my feet, trying to open the cabinet where we keep the snacks. Maya was at the kitchen table, drawing more sunflowers. "I can't," he said. "They're driving up from Salem. They've been on my wait list for 8 months. They want a custom crib for their first baby." "David, it's Maya's play. She's been practicing for weeks." I know, but I'll make it up to her. I'll take her to the zoo on Saturday. Just the 2 of us." "She doesn't want the zoo on Saturday. She wants you to watch her be a sunflower on Thursday." He ran his hands through his hair, the gesture he does when he's frustrated but trying not to show it. "Can you record it?" "On your phone." I turned off the stove. I put down the spoon. I looked at my husband, this man I'd loved for over a decade, and I felt something in my chest crack. Not break, crack, like the first hairline fracture in a windshield that you know will eventually spread across the whole thing. "I'll record it," I said, "but she'll notice you're not there. She'll look for you in the audience. She'll ask why you didn't come. She's 4. She won't remember. She's 4. She'll remember everything." He went to his consultation. Maya did her play. She was the most beautiful sunflower I've ever seen, and she said her lines perfectly, and she looked out at the audience with her big brown eyes, searching, and I watched her little face fall when she didn't find him. She didn't ask where he was. She didn't say anything. That's what broke my heart the most, that she'd already learned not to expect him. I confronted him that night after the kids were asleep. I kept my voice low because I didn't want them to hear, but I didn't keep my anger low. I let him have it. I told him he was choosing furniture over his daughter. I told him Maya deserved better. I told him I deserved better. I told him our family was becoming something I didn't recognize. He got defensive. He always gets defensive. He said he was doing it for us, for our family, to give us financial security, to build something the kids could inherit someday. He said I didn't appreciate how hard he was working. He said I didn't understand the pressure he was under. "I understand perfectly," I said. "You're under pressure you created. You're choosing this. Every single day, you're choosing to be in that garage instead of in here with us. That's not fair. It's not fair that my daughter looks for you in crowds and doesn't find you." He didn't have an answer for that. We went to bed angry. We woke up civil but distant. We functioned like roommates who happened to share children and a mortgage. This went on for weeks. I tried again. I sat him down on a Saturday night. He was actually home miraculously, and I said, "David, I need you to hear me. Not listen. Hear. Our income is fine. More than fine. Your architect's salary alone covers our expenses. The furniture money is extra. It's not necessary. You're choosing to spend all your time on something we don't need." He shook his head. "You don't get it. This isn't just about money. This is about my legacy. This is about creating something that matters. Your children are your legacy. Your children matter. I know that. Of course I know that. But I can do both. I can be a good father and build my business. When was the last time you put Maya to bed?" He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "It's been a while," I said. When was the last time you had dinner with us? Actually sat at the table and ate with us instead of grabbing a sandwich in the garage? A few weeks ago. 2 months, David. It's been 2 months since you had dinner with this family. He looked away. I'm trying. I'm really trying. I know you think you are, but try means making changes. Try means actually doing something different. You keep promising and nothing changes. The conversation ended the way all our conversations ended, with him promising to do better and me not believing him, and both of us pretending I did. Then I found a calendar. It was a Thursday night. David was in the garage. Surprise, surprise. And I was on his laptop trying to find a recipe I'd bookmarked earlier. I opened his browser, and his Google Calendar was still up from whatever he'd been looking at. I wasn't snooping. I swear I wasn't. I was going to close it. I really was. But the date caught my eye. May 15th, a Wednesday, and the event title, Dr. Patel, 2:30 p.m., Vasectomy Reversal Consultation. I stared at it for a full minute. Then I read it again. Then I read it 3 more times, as if the words would rearrange themselves into something else, something less devastating. David had a vasectomy 3 years ago after Caleb was born. It was a mutual decision. 2 kids felt right. My pregnancies had been rough. Hyperemesis with both, hospital stays for fluids. We agreed we were done. He scheduled a vasectomy himself, drove himself to the appointment, came home with a bag of frozen peas and a sheepish grin. Now he wanted to reverse it. Now, without telling me, without discussing it, without any conversation at all, he had scheduled a consultation to undo the procedure that was supposed to complete our family. I felt the floor drop out from under me. I closed the laptop. I walked the garage. I stood in the doorway and watched him sanding a piece of walnut, his back to me, his shoulders moving with the rhythm of the work. Sawdust floated in the air like snow. David. He turned, saw my face, set down the sander. What's wrong? Why are you seeing Dr. Patel in May? The color drained from his face. I watched it happen. The blood just leaving like someone pulled a plug. I can explain, he said. I'm sure you can. Explain. He took off his safety glasses, rubbed his eyes, took a breath. I've been thinking about it for a while. About having another baby. We're not having another baby. We agreed. 2 kids. We're done. I know we agreed, but things change. People change. What's changed? Tell me what's changed. He looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes I couldn't read. Fear? Longing? Guilt? All of it, maybe. I don't know, he said. I feel like something's missing. Like our family isn't complete. Our family is complete. Maya and Caleb are complete. We are complete. Maybe for you. Maybe you feel that way. But I don't. The words hung in the air between us, sharp and terrible. You don't get to decide that alone, I said. You don't get to make this kind of decision without me, without even telling me. I was going to tell you, after the consultation, after I knew if it was even possible, after you'd already made up your mind, after you'd already decided that my body should go through another pregnancy, that I should spend another 9 months vomiting, that I should go through labor again, that we should start over with diapers and sleepless nights. You were going to tell me after you'd already decided. I thought. No, you didn't think. You didn't think about me at all. You didn't think about what this would mean for me, for our kids, for our family. You just thought about yourself, about what you want. That's not fair. Stop telling me what's fair. My voice was shaking. I was shaking. You want to know what's not fair? What's not fair is me finding out about this on your laptop. What's not fair is you making decisions about my life without me. What's not fair is you spending every waking moment in this garage while I raise our children alone, and then deciding that what we really need is another child for me to raise alone. He stepped toward me. I stepped back. I'm not leaving you alone. I'm here. You're not here. You're in this garage. You're with your furniture. You're with your clients. You're everywhere except with us. I'm trying to build something. You're trying to build something for you. Not for us. For you, the furniture, the business, now another baby. It's all for you. To fill something in you that I can't fill, that our children can't fill, that nothing can fill because you won't let it. He didn't deny it. He just stood there, covered in sawdust, looking at me like I was a stranger. I turned around and walked back into the house. I went to our bedroom and closed the door. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall and tried to figure out how my marriage had gotten here. He didn't come to bed that night. I heard him in the garage until 3 a.m., the saw running, the sander buzzing, the sounds of a man running away from everything he didn't want to face. The next morning, I woke up to find him asleep on the couch in the basement, a blanket pulled over his head. I made coffee. I got the kids ready for school. I drove Maya to preschool and Caleb to his half-day program. I came home and found David in the kitchen, pouring himself coffee, looking like hell. "We need to talk," I said. "I know." "Sit down." He sat. I sat across from him. The kitchen table was the one he'd made, the reclaimed barnwood table I loved, and I hated it in that moment. I hated everything in this house that he'd built, every piece of furniture that represented time he'd taken from us. "The vasectomy reversal," I said. "Is that really what you want?" He hesitated. "I don't know anymore. I thought it was. Now I don't know." "When did you first think about it?" "A few months ago. After that guy from Portland monthly came to do the profile. He asked about my family, about the kids, about whether we wanted more. I said no, but after he left, I couldn't stop thinking about it, about having another one, about doing it differently this time." "Differently how?" "I don't know. Being more present. Being there. I thought maybe if we had another baby, I could do it right. I could be the father I wasn't the first 2 times. I stared at him. "You think having another baby would make you more present? You think adding more chaos, more responsibility, more need would somehow free up time you don't have?" I know it sounds crazy. It sounds insane. It sounds like the worst idea I've ever heard. You're not present for the 2 children we already have, and you think a third would fix that. He put his head in his hands. "I don't know what I think. I just know something's wrong. I feel like I'm failing at everything. At work, at the business, at being a husband, at being a father. I feel like I'm drowning, and I keep thinking if I just build one more piece, land one more client, make one more thing, I'll finally feel like I'm enough." "Oh, David." The anger drained out of me. Not all of it. Some of it calcified into something harder, something I'd carried for a while, but enough that I could see him clearly. My husband, who couldn't sit still. My husband, who filled every moment with work, so he didn't have to sit with his own thoughts. My husband, who was so afraid of not being enough that he never let himself be present enough to find out he already was. "David." I reached across the table and took his hand. He looked up, surprised. "You are enough. You've always been enough. You don't need to build anything to prove it. You don't need to make furniture or land clients or have another baby. You just need to be here. That's all any of us want. Just you here with us." His eyes filled with tears. I haven't seen him cry since our wedding day. "I don't know how," he whispered. "I don't know how to just be here. I've been running for so long. I don't remember how to stop. Then we'll figure out together. But you have to want to stop. You have to choose to stop." He squeezed my hand. "I want to. I really want to." We talked for hours that morning. About the business, about the vasectomy reversal, canceled. He agreed, definitely canceled. About the kids, about us. I told him how lonely I'd been, how I'd felt like a single parent even though I was married, how Maya had stopped asking for him because she'd learned he wouldn't come, how Caleb had started calling the garage Daddy's house. He cried harder at that. We made a plan, not a vague promise, an actual plan with steps and deadlines and consequences. Sundays were non-negotiable. No exceptions, no emergencies, no clients from New York. Wednesday evenings were family nights. He'd be home for dinner at least 4 nights a week. He'd take the kids to school 1 morning a week. He'd go to therapy, individual and couples. He agreed to all of it. He wrote it down. He put it in his calendar, the real one, not the secret one. For a few weeks, it worked. He came home for dinner. He took Maya to school on Tuesdays. He was present on Sundays, really present, not just physically there, but mentally there, play with the kids, talking to me, being part of the family. I started to hope. Then April came. April is busy for architects, something about fiscal years and project deadlines. April is also busy for furniture makers. Spring weddings mean custom pieces. Spring babies mean cribs and changing tables. David's calendar filled up. His dinner attendance dropped. His Sunday presents became spotty. I reminded him of our agreement. He apologized and promised to do better. Nothing changed. By the end of April, we were back where we started. Him in the garage, me in the house. The kids somewhere in between, all of us waiting for something that wasn't coming. The breaking point, the real breaking point, the one that would finally shatter the windshield, came on May 1st. David's mother called. She wanted to have a Mother's Day brunch at her house on the second Sunday of May. I said yes before checking with David. I didn't think I needed a check. It was Mother's Day. Of course we'd be there. When I told him, his face went pale. I can't do Sunday, he said. It's Mother's Day. Your Mother's Day. You have to do Sunday. I have a client flying in from Chicago. He's only in town that day. I promised him a consultation. Cancel it. I can't. David, it's Mother's Day. Your mother will be devastated if you're not there. Can you take the kids? Tell her I'm sorry. I'll make it up to her. No, I will not. You're going to be there. You're going to be present for your mother on Mother's Day, and you're going to be present for your family, and you're going to keep the promise you made. He ran his hands through his hair, the frustration gesture. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I understand that you're choosing a client over your mother. I understand that you're choosing work over family. Again, I understand that nothing has changed despite all your promises, despite all our plans, despite everything. That's not fair. Stop saying that. Stop telling me what's fair. Fair would be you keeping your word. Fair would be you being present. Fair would be me not having to fight for every single scrap of your time. We argued for an hour. It went nowhere. He kept saying he had to do the consultation. I kept saying he had to be at the brunch. Neither of us would budge. Finally, I said, fine, go to your consultation. But don't expect me to cover for you. Don't expect me to make excuses. When your mother asks why you're not there, I'll tell her the truth, that you chose a client over her on Mother's Day. You wouldn't. Try me. He didn't go to the consultation. He came to the brunch. He was miserable the whole time, checking his phone every 5 minutes, distracted, distant. His mother noticed. She asked if everything was okay. I smiled and said everything was fine. It wasn't fine. It was the opposite of fine. The week after Mother's Day, I found out I was pregnant. I don't know how it happened. We'd been careful. After the vasectomy conversation, we'd been even more careful. But nothing is 100%, and here I was staring at a positive pregnancy test at 6 a.m., my hands shaking, my mind blank. I didn't tell David right away. I needed time to process, time to figure out what I wanted, what this meant, what it would do to our already fractured marriage. I thought about the vasectomy reversal. I thought about how he'd wanted another baby, how he'd felt our family was incomplete. I thought about how he'd be happy about this. Maybe not happy, but some feeling that wasn't a constant tension and distance between us. I thought about myself, about another pregnancy, about another baby to raise while he worked, about another child who would learn not to expect their father. I thought about Maya and Caleb, about how another baby would change their lives, about whether I could do this again, whether I wanted to do this again. I didn't know the answer to any of it. I told him a week later. I sat him down on a Saturday night. He was actually home. Miracles never cease. And I put the test on the table between us. He looked at it, looked at me, looked at it again. You're pregnant. Yes. How? We know how. The question is what we do about it. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I want to keep it. I know you do, but you don't. I don't know what I want. I know I'm tired. I know I'm lonely. I know I've been raising our children mostly by myself for years. I know adding another baby to that doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a sentence. He flinched. That's harsh. It's honest. I'm tired of pretending everything's fine when it's not. I'm tired of protecting your feelings while mine get ignored. I'm tired of being the only one who's actually present in this family. I'm trying. I know you're trying. I know you mean well. But meaning well isn't enough anymore. Good intentions don't put you at the dinner table. Good intentions don't make you present on Sundays. Good intentions don't give our children a father who's actually there. He was quiet again. Then he said, What do you want me to do? I want you to decide. Really decide. Not promise. Not try. Not hope. Decide that this family matters more than your business. Decide that being present matters more than building furniture. Decide that I matter, that our children matter, that we matter enough for you to actually show up. I do decide that. I have decided that. Then prove it, not with words, with actions, with changes, with consistency. He nodded slowly. Okay, I will. David, I've heard that before. I've heard it so many times. I need you to understand that this is the last time. If you can't do this, if you can't actually be present, then we need to talk about what comes next. Because I can't keep living like this. I can't keep being married to someone who's never here. The word hung in the air between us. Divorce. Neither of us said it, but we both heard it. I'll do it, he said. I'll really do it this time. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to so badly. But I'd wanted to believe him so many times before, and here we were again. The next few weeks were strange. David canceled his June commissions. He told his assistant to stop booking new clients. He set boundaries with his existing ones. No evenings, no Sundays, no exceptions. He came home at 6 p.m. every night. He had dinner with us. He put the kids to bed. He sat with me on the couch and watched TV shows we used to watch together, back when we were young and in love, and thought life would be easier than this. I waited for the other shoe to drop. I waited for him to get that look in his eye, the distracted look, the one that meant his mind was in the garage, even if his body was with us. I waited for the excuses, the apologies, the gradual slide back into old patterns. It didn't happen. Weeks passed, then a month, then 2 months. He kept showing up. He kept being present. He kept his promises. My pregnancy progressed. I was sick, not as sick as with Maya and Caleb, but sick enough. David took care of me. He brought me crackers and ginger ale. He took over school pickup and drop-off. He handled bedtime by himself when I was too nauseous to move. He was there, actually there, in a way he hadn't been in years. I started to believe it might be real. In August, we went to the beach for a week. David didn't bring any work. He didn't check his phone. He built sandcastles with Maya and Caleb. He taught them how to find crabs in the tide pools. He held my hand on the boardwalk and told me he loved me, really loved me, and I felt like I was falling in love with him all over again. On the last night of vacation, we sat on the deck of our rental cottage, watching the sunset, the kids asleep inside. I was 8 months pregnant, huge and uncomfortable, but happy, happier than I'd been in years. "Thank you," I said. "For what?" "For this. For being here. For actually being here." He took my hand. "I'm sorry it took me so long to figure it out." "What changed?" "Really," he thought about it. "I think it was when you said you couldn't keep living like this. When you implied that divorce was on the table. I realized I was about to lose everything that actually matters because I was so focused on things that don't. The furniture matters. Your business matters. Not as much as you. Not as much as the kids. Not as much as this." He gestured at the sunset, the ocean, the cottage, our family sleeping inside. I spent years running towards something I thought I wanted, and I didn't realize I was running away from what I already had. I squeezed his hand. "You have it. You still have it. We're still here. I know. I'm not going to mess it up again." We sat in silence for a while, watching the sun disappear into the ocean. It was one of those perfect moments you know you'll remember forever, that you'll pull out in dark times to remind yourself that light exists. Our daughter was born in September. We named her Grace. Not original, I know, but it felt right. Grace for the grace we've been given. The grace of second chances. The grace of finding our way back to each other. David was there for the birth. He held my hand. He cut the cord. He cried when they put her on my chest. He was present, completely present, in a way he hadn't been for Maya or Caleb's births, because back then he'd been distracted, thinking about work, already halfway to the garage. Grace changed things. Not because she was a different baby. She was a baby like all babies, demanding and beautiful and exhausting. But because David was different. He took paternity leave, actual paternity leave, not the kind where he worked from home while supposedly on leave. He got up with her at night. He changed diapers. He rocked her to sleep while I pumped or slept or just stared at the wall in that dazed way new parents do. Maya and Caleb adjusted to having a sister better than I expected. Maya appointed herself Grace's official protector. Caleb was mostly confused about why the baby couldn't play with him yet. They both thrived with David actually being present, actually being their father instead of a ghost who lived in the garage. The furniture business didn't disappear. David still takes commissions, still builds beautiful pieces, still has his Instagram account with its 40,000 followers. But now it's what it should have always been, a passion, not an obsession. A hobby, not a second job. He works on projects when he has time, when the kids are asleep, when family obligations are met. He says no to clients now. He sets boundaries and keeps them. He still slips sometimes. Old habits die hard. There are weeks when he gets distracted, when his mind drifts to a design problem or a client request, when I have to remind him that we're here, we need him, we matter. But now when I remind him, he listens. He adjusts. He comes back. We argue less. We talk more. We started having date nights again. Real date nights. With babysitters and reservations, and conversations that don't involve children or schedules or logistics. We remember why we fell in love. We remember that we actually like each other, that we chose each other, that we're on the same team. Grace is 6 months old now. She's sleeping through the night, mostly, She smiles at everyone, but she smiles biggest at David. When he walks into a room, her whole face lights up. She knows her daddy. She knows he's there. Maya is in first grade. She reads at a second grade level and draws pictures of our family constantly. All 5 of us, plus Maple the dog, plus a son in the corner, because she says every picture needs a son. In her drawings, we're always together, always holding hands, always a family. Caleb is in preschool. He's obsessed with dinosaurs and can name more of them than most adults. He still calls the garage Daddy's house sometimes, but now he also calls it where Daddy makes cool stuff for us. David built him a dinosaur bed to replace the race car bed. Caleb outgrew the race car phase, and Caleb acts like it's the greatest thing in the history of the world. Last Sunday, we went to Forest Park for a hike. All 5 of us, plus Maple. Grace rode in a carrier on David's chest. Maya held my hand and pointed out every bird she saw. Caleb ran ahead, then ran back, then ran ahead again. Infinite energy in a 4-year-old body. Maple chased sticks and got muddy, and shook mud all over David's jeans. And he just laughed. We stopped at a clearing with a view of the city. Portland spread out below us, all bridges and buildings in green. David put his arm around me. Grace slept against his chest. Maya leaned against my legs. Caleb threw sticks for Maple. I'm glad we came, David said. Me too. This is what I was missing. All those years, this is what I was missing. I leaned into him. You're here now. That's what matters. I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. I believed him, not because he promised. He'd promised before, but because he'd shown me, day after day, week after week, month after month, that he meant it, that he'd changed, that he'd finally figured out what mattered. The sun was setting. The sky turned orange and pink and purple. Maya said it looked like someone spilled paint. Caleb said it looked like dinosaurs were fighting in the sky. Grace slept through it all, completely at peace, completely secure, completely loved. I looked at my family, my husband, my children, my dog, my life, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not perfect peace. Life is never perfect. But enough peace. Enough to know that we were going to be okay. That we were okay. That all the fighting and crying and almost breaking had been worth it. Because it brought us here, to this moment, to this family, to this love. David caught me looking. He smiled. What? Nothing. Just happy. He kissed my forehead. Me too. We stayed until the sun was gone, until the sky turned dark, until Maya started complaining about being hungry, and Caleb started complaining about being tired, and Grace woke up and started complaining about being awake. Then we hiked back to the car, a messy, loud, chaotic family, and we drove home to the life we'd built together. It's not perfect. It never will be, but it's ours, and that's enough.